Dynamic fill adds a new way of defining regions on a drawing and applying markups that makes performing takeoffs, especially on irregularly shaped locations, much faster and more effective. By allowing you to make a large or complex selection faster and creating multiple elements, like spaces and area measurements from that selection, your takeoff process becomes much more efficient. Selections are made using a fill tool, which pours a selection inside any enclosed shape on a drawing. A second boundary tool makes it possible to connect line work on the drawing, creating a barrier for the fill selection for shapes that are not closed. Once a selection has been made, the selection can be used to immediately create a space, area, polylength, perimeter, volume, or polygon markup, or you can select any number of these, and when you apply them, all of those elements will be created. It's never been easier to add massive amounts of powerful markups and measurements data to your takeoff documents. To add a dynamic fill to a region, go to Measure, Dynamic Fill. This activates a floating toolbar at the top of the document window with all of the tools and functions you'll need to quickly extract an area. Go to the region you need to mark up. Before using the fill, you'll want to ensure that the shape you intended to create is enclosed. Clicking on the cogwheel in the toolbar will bring up the tool settings to give you even more control over selections you are making. Change the color, the size of the line or circle you're adding to the selection, the speed at which the fill is added, and how the fill detects edges. Change the boundary tool size to 25% to better fit the wall size of the drawing. In the room you see here, you'll notice two door openings as well as a line and a door symbol that closes off the shape, so you'll need to consider that during your fill as well. Use the boundary tool to close off the two door openings at the top and bottom of the room. Once you have your boundaries created, select the Fill tool, click inside of the room, and hold the left mouse button down. The fill will extend in all directions until they hit the boundaries. You can paint the Fill tool over those areas to fill the entire room. If you make a mistake on either the boundary or the fill, you can click on the trash can icon and choose to clear boundary, clear fill, or clear all to remove both. It's good to note that you can apply a boundary after a fill has been used to select an area on the drawing. If, for example, you have selected an area with a fill, but that fill has spilled over to an area it shouldn't be in, you can use the boundary tool to close off the area and correct the fill. In fact, you can use the boundary tool to enclose any area, not just one where lines are present. With the fill selection made, you can move down the toolbar to the Create section, which, again, lets you create space, area, polylength, perimeter, volume, or polygon markups. You'll notice the triangle buttons next to each option. Clicking on these allows you to select options for creating those elements. Create Space lets you name the space and define the color and opacity of that space. The other measurement tools allow you to use the default measurement properties, or choose from any of the defined tools of that type in your tool sets. When you've chosen the measurements or spaces you want to apply to your selection, the icons will appear highlighted with a blue box. Click Apply to create those elements from that selection. When you've completed all of your selections, click Close. Since we chose to create a space named Corridor and an area measurement with a flooring type of polished concrete as the subject, you can see that the space has been created in the Spaces tab and the measurement has been created in the Markups list tagged to the corridor space. Dynamic Fill is an incredibly helpful tool for performing takeoffs, defining spaces, and preparing multiple measurements and elements quicker than ever.